There's a list of games that the vast majority have been very vocal about wanting on PlayStation VR. BioShock is the one I hear practically every day, and probably the one I'd like to see the most. But another series that would make the transition to VR virtually unscathed are the Time Crisis games. I'd even be happy with the original PlayStation 2 era graphics as long as I could relive my GunCon 2 days in the best, most immersive way possible. Well, it sounds like developer Sumo Labs has been listening, because their new game VRigade is an awesome glimpse into our potential Time Crisis VR future. In true arcade fashion, VRigade doesn't mess around. The title screen has no options, just two difficulty modes, Rookie and Hell, which might as well be named Impossible and go f*** yourself. Because it took me hours of practice and trial and error on Rookie to see the game through, and haven't made any progress in Hell, which only allows you to take one bullet before tossing you back to the title screen. The game itself only consists of a single stage, the bank robbery, where you and your cannon fodder SWAT team have to take down a metric ton of bad guys and save all the hostages you can within the 7-minute time limit. You'll move from room to room with branching paths, adding a ton of replayability, taking out enemies as you go. The process will require you to use every square inch of the PlayStation camera's view, because just like Superhot before it, you'll be all over your living room, with two move controllers looking for a better vantage point, ducking behind virtual cars, couches, and walls, and blind firing like your life depends on it. And while I found a lot of luck with blind firing, or shooting from the hip at least, if you prefer precision, every weapon allows your second hand to steady it, increasing accuracy and reducing recoil significantly. But the biggest surprise is when I discovered that VRigade performs just as well with a DualShock 4 or aim controller, my current favorite way to play. Though despite my obvious love for this game and the genre as a whole, there's quite a few things that the developers need to bring us in future updates. First, there's not a lot of power-ups, just health and one that briefly slows time. And each automatic weapon feels relatively interchangeable with the last. A few deaths felt cheap, and not knowing who delivered the final blow was often frustrating. But my biggest complaint is an aesthetic one. Despite the graphics, music, and sound effects all combining to create an amazing arcade experience, there's no locomotion of any kind between shootouts. The screen just goes black, and when you come to, you find yourself about 20 feet from your last location. There's no doubt that developer Sumo Labs is leaning hard into the Time Crisis comparison with VRigade, and even though it feels a bit like a proof of concept instead of a full-fledged game, for the price, it's easy to recommend. I've already put more virtual quarters into this arcade game than it cost to buy, so even though it's currently just one huge stage, single player only, and pretty unforgiving, for Time Crisis fans, this is a huge step in the right direction. Let's just hope Bandai Namco is paying attention.